Imagine finding yourself face to face with a serial killer who has already decided you won't survive the night. Now imagine defying those odds through sheer courage and will to live. These women stared into darkness and refused to let it win. Their survival didn't just save their own lives, it helped bring monsters to justice and prevented countless future tragedies. Welcome to True Crime Explorers, where we honor the survivors whose voices changed everything. Today, we're counting down 10 women whose incredible survival stories prove that even in the darkest moments, the human spirit can prevail. Make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss our deep dives into the cases that shook the world. Let's meet these remarkable survivors. These aren't just survival stories. They're testaments to resilience, quick thinking, and unbreakable determination. Each woman faced a predator who had killed before and would kill again. Yet through courage, intelligence, or sheer will, they escaped when escape seemed impossible. Their stories matter beyond the drama. These survivors became key witnesses who secured convictions. Their testimonies brought justice to other victims' families. Their advocacy sparked crucial conversations about safety and systemic change. Content warning: this video discusses violence and abuse in the context of survival and justice without graphic details. From England to Australia, from the 1970s to the 2010s, these 10 women survived the unthinkable. 10. Marcella Claxton survived the Yorkshire Ripper 1976. In 1976, 20-year-old Marcella Claxton was walking through Roundhay Park in Leeds when Peter Sutcliffe attacked her from behind with a hammer, fracturing her skull. She survived with permanent injuries, but police initially failed to connect her case to the Yorkshire Ripper investigation. After Sutcliffe's 1981 arrest, investigators finally recognized Marcella as one of his earliest victims. Her advocacy helped expose critical investigation failures and ensured all victims were acknowledged. Sutcliffe was convicted of 13 murders and died in prison in 2020. 9. Whitney Bennett survived the Night Stalker 1985. 16-year-old Whitney was sleeping when Richard Ramirez broke into her Sierra Madre home and attacked her with a tire iron, fracturing her skull and leaving her in critical condition. Emergency surgery saved her life, and her recovery defied medical expectations. Whitney's courtroom testimony helped secure Ramirez's conviction and death sentence. Her courage in facing her attacker gave hope to other victims' families. Ramirez died on death row in 2013, never showing remorse. 8. Denise Williams witnessed Jeffrey Dahmer's pattern, 1991. In May 1991, Denise Williams saw 14-year-old Conorak Synthesomphone naked and bleeding on a Milwaukee street. She called police and tried to help, but Dahmer convinced officers the boy was his adult boyfriend. Despite Denise's protests, police returned Conorak to Dahmer, who murdered him that night. Though Denise couldn't save Conorak, her testimony helped prosecutors establish Dahmer's pattern of manipulation and highlighted failures in protecting marginalized victims. Dahmer was convicted of 17 murders and killed in prison in 1994. 7. Heather Saul stopped Neil Falls 2015. In July 2015, Heather Saul, a sex worker in Charleston, answered what seemed like a routine call. Neil Falls arrived with a kill kit containing weapons, zip ties, bleach, and trash bags. When Falls attacked her with a rake, Heather fought back and managed to grab his gun, shooting him in self-defense. Police discovered Falls matched the description of suspects in multiple unsolved murders across several states. Heather's survival likely prevented additional victims and brought attention to violence against sex workers, a population often ignored by investigators. 6. Enietra Washington survived the Grim Sleeper, 1988. In November 1988, Enietra Washington accepted a ride from Lonnie Franklin Jr. in South Central Los Angeles. He shot her, sexually assaulted her, and pushed her from his vehicle, certain she was dead, but Enietra survived. For over 2 decades, she lived knowing her attacker walked free. When Franklin was arrested in 2010, Enietra faced him in court and identified him as the man who tried to murder her. Her testimony helped convict the Grim Sleeper of 10 murders spanning 25 years. Franklin died in prison in 2020. 4. Kate Moyer escaped the Burney couple, 1986. If you're finding these stories compelling, hit that like button. In November 1986, 17-year-old Kate Moyer was abducted by David and Catherine Burney in Perth, Australia. The couple had already murdered 4 women. Kate was held captive for hours, enduring abuse while fearing she'd become victim number 5. Kate noticed a moment when Catherine left and David's attention wavered. She escaped through a window and ran to neighbours who called police. Her bravery led to the Burneys' immediate arrest and convictions. David died in prison in 2005. Catherine remains incarcerated for life. 4. Amanda Berry, Michelle Knight, and Gina De Jesus survived Ariel Castro, 2003-2013. Between 2002 and 2004, Ariel Castro abducted 3 young women in Cleveland, Michelle Knight, Amanda Berry, and Gina De Jesus. He imprisoned them in his home for over a decade, subjecting them to repeated abuse. On May 6, 2013, Amanda heard Castro leave and realized the door was unlocked. She screamed for help. Neighbor Charles Ramsey helped her break through, and she called 911. "Help me, I'm Amanda Berry." Within hours, all 3 women were rescued. Castro was sentenced to life plus 1,000 years but died by suicide in prison 1 month later. The women have become advocates for missing persons and trafficking victims, transforming pain into purpose. 3. Shasta Groan survived. Joseph Duncan III, 2005. In May 2005, 8-year-old Shasta Groan's world shattered when Joseph Duncan III invaded her family's Idaho home. He murdered her mother, 13-year-old brother, and her mother's boyfriend, then kidnapped Shasta and her 9-year-old brother Dylan. Duncan held them captive for 7 weeks in Montana, murdering Dylan during their ordeal. When Duncan took Shasta to a Denny's restaurant, an alert waitress recognized her from missing person reports and called police. Despite unimaginable trauma, Shasta's testimony helped convict Duncan of multiple murders. Duncan died on death row in 2021. Shasta has worked to honor her family's memory while building a life defined by resilience. 2. Mary Vincent survived. Lawrence Singleton, 1978. In September 1978, 15-year-old Mary Vincent was hitchhiking when 50-year-old Lawrence Singleton offered her a ride. He drove to a remote canyon, raped her, then used an axe to cut off both her forearms before throwing her down a ravine, leaving her to die. Mary refused to die. Despite catastrophic blood loss, she climbed back up that ravine, held her arms above her heart to slow the bleeding, and walked nearly 3 miles until a driver found her. Mary's testimony convicted Singleton, but he served only 8 years before early release. When Singleton murdered again, Mary's warnings were validated. She became a fierce advocate for victims' rights and longer sentences. Her strength continues inspiring survivors worldwide. 1. Lisa McVeigh survived Bobby Joe Long, 1984. In November 1984, 17-year-old Lisa McVeigh was cycling home from work when serial killer Bobby Joe Long abducted her at gunpoint. Long had already murdered at least 10 women, and Lisa understood she was likely next. During her 26-hour ordeal, Lisa did something extraordinary. She deliberately created a human connection with her captor, talking calmly while memorizing everything: his voice, his car's interior, carpet fibers, even counting steps in his apartment. When Long released her, convinced she wouldn't report him, Lisa went straight to police with an incredibly detailed account, every detail checked out, leading to Long's arrest within days. Her testimony was instrumental in his conviction for 10 murders. Long was executed in 2019 and Lisa attended. Today, Lisa McVeigh Nolan serves as a sheriff's deputy and speaks internationally about survival. Her story demonstrates how one teenager's intelligence and courage stopped a serial killer's reign of terror. 10 women, 10 encounters with evil, 10 stories of unbreakable spirit. These survivors prove that courage isn't the absence of fear. It's action despite terror. Their testimonies delivered justice not only for themselves, but for victims who couldn't speak. Which story stayed with you most? Share your thoughts respectfully in the comments below. For more survivor stories, check out our true crime playlist right here. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications. We post new deep dives every Tuesday and Friday. Until next time, stay safe, stay aware, and remember, survival is always possible, even when hope seems lost.